49ers news and rumors coming your way pertaining to the upcoming NFL draft, which is coming your way April 28th to the 30th from Las Vegas. So coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at 5 draft targets for the 49ers and players who I think they must target at pick number 61 overall. And the Niners in the NFL draft have a bunch of draft capital at their fingertips. 9 picks to be exact, including 4 compensatory picks. You take a look at the Niners draft picks here in the upcoming draft. Pick number 61, as I talked about, 2 third-round selections at 93 and 105, 4th-round pick at 134, a 5th-round pick at 172, 3 6th-round selections at 187, 220, and 221, and their final pick in the 7th round at pick number 262. So San Francisco, they've been somewhat silent in NFL free agency so far. I think they're going to pivot to the NFL draft and really look to build out the rest of this roster on the outer edges, on the peripheries, with some younger talent who, of course, much more affordable than some of the free agent targets out there. So without further ado, here are 5 targets in the NFL draft, players who might be available in round 2, who I think the 49ers have to target. And all of these players fulfill positions of need. We kick it off with Jaquan Brisker, safety out of Penn State. Love the player, had an opportunity to see him a couple of times live, and if the 49ers want to move on from Jaquan Tart, who is a free agent right now, Jaquan Brisker, my favorite rookie option who might be available in the 2nd round in day 2 of the NFL draft. Combine results, pretty good speed, 4.4 940, 22 bench press reps of 225 pounds, pretty good size as well, 6'1", 199 pounds, and a big reason why I like him, he's athletic, he's smart, he's tough, and he can get it done as a box safety, but also in coverage. Now, at times, he can get lost in coverage. There's no question about it, but you look at his numbers in 2021, pretty solid player. 38 solo tackles for Penn State during what was a very good season, 6 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. Now, he was a transfer to Penn State from Lackawanna College in northeastern Pennsylvania, and Lackawanna College, one of the best junior colleges across the entire country. So he got really good reps there, transferred to Penn State, and ended up having a very, very good season here in 2021. And if the Niners were to draft him at pick number 61, I think he'd be able to fill a void and be a very good immediate player from day 1 in DeMeco Ryans' defense. Now, I want to test you with this question, Faithful. Pick a starter if you had to pick one. Would you want Jaquan Tart on the back end alongside Jimmy Ward? Or do you want more of a youth movement with Jaquan Brisker? Type JT for Tart, JB for Jaquan Brisker. Let me know in the comment section right now. A really intriguing prospect who's really been turning heads the last couple of weeks, especially after the NFL Combine and his pro day at South Carolina, is Kingsley Enagbare. So 49ers could really use a young edge opposite of Nick Bosa, and Kingsley could really fill that void. Now, his name is very difficult to pronounce, but we'll be able to pronounce it a lot better if he's making plays in the Bay. 4.87 40-yard dash at 6'4", 258 pounds, has really good length, really good upper body power, little tight in the hips, but maybe playing opposite of Nick Bosa. That won't be much of a concern because all of the looks will be shaded towards Bosa's side of line of scrimmage and not Kingsley Enagbare. Now, as for what he did last year, 44 solo tackles, 2 years, 44 solo tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. This guy can wreak havoc on opposing offenses. This guy is really trending in an upward direction. And yeah, he's a little bit of a project, is Enagbare, but over time, with the development from defensive line coach Chris Kocurek, with the development from defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans, I think he'd be able to turn into a really good player. And as a rookie, might be able to give you some really good snaps because you're on a loaded defensive line that has a lot of depth to it in San Francisco. Now, these are a couple of needs for the Niners. There's no doubt about it. We talked about safety. We talked about edge. Coming up, we're going to shift to the offensive side of the football. But what is your biggest draft need for the 49ers right now in free agency going into the NFL draft? Let me know in the comments section. And also, make sure you give us a follow and a subscribe on Rumble. All you got to do, go to rumble.com/49erstv. On the Rumble side of things, we're pushing out even more content on Rumble solely. free and uncensored content. In addition to that, sports, news, politics, tech, business, and what we continue to do here at Chat Sports, grow to the platforms that you as the viewers use. So give us a follow, subscribe now, rumble.com/49erstv. When you plug in that link down below, which is available in the comment section and the description, hit that green subscribe button. 3 more second-round targets who I want the Niners to target. All at the wide receiver position, including Christian Watson and John Metchie on the offensive side of the football, including Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle out of Washington State. We first take a look at Christian Watson. Why is he a familiar name? Well, he went to North Dakota State. He played college football with Trey Lance very, very briefly, and really started to turn a lot of heads and make some progress at the NFL Scouting Combine when he lit the world on fire. 43 catches last year, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, average yards per catch, 18.5, and right now he's soaring up draft boards because he has excellent size at 6'4", 208 pounds, and he ran a 4.36 at the NFL Scouting Combine. Now, prior to him clocking a 4.36, a lot of people thought he was going to be a late second, maybe even a third-round guy. I'm not sure he's going to be available for the Niners at pick 61. But if you consult with Trey Lance, and Lance says, you know what? I've practiced with this guy. I've played with this guy. I know that he can be a bona fide stud in this offense. Let's move up to take him. We have a couple of picks later on in the draft to do so. I'd be a fan of that if it makes Trey Lance, the future of your franchise, that much more comfortable. I like how he can get up and down the field vertically, and that size, really, really appealing. The numbers for John Metchie, very, very appealing. Was talking to our NFL draft expert Tom Downey a little bit earlier. He thinks John Metchie can be an excellent wide receiver, especially on third downs. The big concern with him coming off a significant injury, which we'll get to here in just a second. This level of production, though, last year with the Alabama Crimson Tide was great. Now, I understand he was playing alongside Jameson Williams, but in the SEC, in a shorter season, to rack up 96 grabs, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, really is fabulous. I think he's a great route runner. I think he's an excellent wide receiver in terms of the variety of routes that he can run, but he did tear his ACL in December, which is a big problem. It happened in that SEC championship game. Not only did Jameson Williams go down with the torn ACL, so too did his counterpart in John Metchie. But with medical advances being made and with ACL injuries not really all that serious any longer, I think Metchie would be able to come back for his rookie season and be an immediate impact player for San Francisco as that vertical threat, but a guy who can really run any route on the field, outside or inside for the Niners. Now, if you could pick one wide receiver between Christian Watson out of North Dakota State and John Metchie out of Alabama, who would you go with? Type CW for Watson or JM for John Metchie, and embrace debate here because these two guys, very, very intriguing prospects. The 5th of the 5 draft targets who I want the Niners to target in the second round at pick number 61 is Abraham Lucas. He, too, really starting to improve and impress a lot of people. Has great size, 6'6", 315 pounds. He ran a sub 5 40-yard dash, which at that size is excellent. We're talking about a guy who's massive. He's a mauler, pretty strong, 24 bench press reps of 225 pounds, and he played tackle at Washington State, but he could also play guard as well. And the Niners over time, especially under Kyle Shanahan, they've really started to prioritize a lot of guys with positional versatility. They did so with Aaron Banks. They did so with Jalen Moore. They've done so with previous offensive linemen. And Abraham Lucas, he can play tackle. He can play guard, and that positional versatility is very important. So before we get out of here on this segment, these are the 5 prospects who I want the Niners to target at pick number 61, and I think a lot of these guys can be available. Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State, the safety. Kingsley Enagbare, defensive end out of South Carolina. Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. John Metchie, the wide receiver out of Alabama. And lastly, Abraham Lucas, the tackle and guard out of Washington State. Who would you like to see the 49ers target? It can be one of these 5 draft targets. It can be other players out there. Either way, give me a name in the comment section. And thanks so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day.